your forecast first. Sponsored by Natex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, it took a while, at least here in Champaign, but the sun is back out here this evening as the clouds finally cleared. For some of you, you're saying, well, it was sunny pretty much the entire day. For me, and again, it kind of depends upon where you were across the area, because some of you, especially out to the west, we're talking about mainly over towards Springfield and Jacksonville, all of you guys had a lot of that cloud cover. As a matter of fact, you can see some of that cloud cover that is on the satellite and radar picture tonight. That is slowly departing off into the east. Now, temperatures, as a result, have been quite a bit cooler across the area, with readings that are into the 60s for some of you, but others still stuck into the 50s, like Champaign. When we come back, we're going to talk about how things tonight actually get a little cool for us as we head down to the 30s in some areas. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
The body of a missing Edgar County woman has been found, who's behind bars tonight, charged with her murder.
A shooting incident of any caliber is unusual for our community.
Shots early this morning near the EIU campus. The latest on the man who was airlifted to the hospital. And more people are suing the governor over his stay-at-home order, including a church.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 6.
A Paris family is mourning the loss of a woman after she was found dead in rural Effingham County. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Roscoe. 29-year-old Kimberly Mattingly was reported missing earlier this month. Christopher Glass of Mason is charged with her murder. Aaron Kaiser of Beecher City is charged with concealing a homicide. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting is live in Beecher City tonight, where Mattingly's body was found. Police, we don't have Courtney, but I can actually continue her story. Police won't say how she ended up there, but Beecher City was listed as a possibility when Mattingly was first reported missing. She was also thought to possibly be in Effingham, Toledo, or Paris, where she's from. Investigators found her body yesterday. Family members are in shock after hearing the news. Her family's been sharing messages with our reporter through Gia Wright, who works with families with missing persons cases. She says the family does feel some peace knowing where Mattingly is, but they are still trying to come to terms with her death.
In this scenario, this family knew early on that not only was Kim in danger, but that she may not come out of this alive. They just knew.
Mattingly had an off and on again relationship with Glass. She says Glass had several girlfriends. Police won't say how the victim died. Now, the family wants to thank the Paris community for their support through all of this. They say Mattingly will be remembered as a mother, daughter, sister, niece, granddaughter, and friend. They say she was very close to her family. Now, the man charged with the murder was actually captured across the state line. Last night, police out of Putnamville, Indiana, which is about half an hour away from Terre Haute, got information that Christopher Glass was in that area. They found him around 8 last night.
They located Glass walking US 41 towards Margaret at the Marathon fueling station. At that time, along with the Terre Haute Police Department and our 3 troopers, Glass was taken into custody.
He was taken to the Vigo County Jail. Glass was extradited to Effingham this morning. Police are investigating a shooting at an apartment building in Charleston right by EIU's campus. They were called out to the scene near 9th and Edgar Drive this morning. Investigators say one man was shot and had to be airlifted to the hospital. Our crew at the scene saw police taking pictures and collecting evidence inside and outside the apartment. They haven't made any arrests yet, but say they have talked to everybody involved.
Not getting into specifics, but there's a handful that we've been able to identify as primary witnesses and people who have had firsthand information that they've been able to share with us.
No word yet on what led up to that shooting. Police are looking for a suspect in an attempted robbery. It happened at the Circle K on Madison Sangamon Drive in Champaign yesterday morning. Police say the suspect walked into the gas station and demanded money from the clerk. They say he didn't get away with any money and no one was hurt. If you know anything, call police. Republicans keep peppering Governor Pritzker with a number of legal challenges to try and block his executive orders in court. Today, all 5 Illinois Republicans in Congress chimed in. They asked the governor to make changes before his next order takes place tomorrow. Our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell reports from Springfield.
If Governor Pritzker had any intention of making further changes to the executive order he already announced, that one scheduled to take place tomorrow, well, he didn't tip his hand on that in a press conference today. In fact, he said the modifications he's already made are sensitive to some of these requests that these Republican congressmen have made about downstate. He included state parks, for example, also fishing and golfing allowed to resume starting May 1st. But at the same time, the Pritzker administration is also dealing with a mounting number of legal challenges in court today. A new challenge from a church in northwestern Illinois, Stevenson County, where a House Republican, a former House Republican who's campaigning to win his seat back in the suburbs, is the lawyer representing that church, saying that Governor Pritzker's executive order effectively blocks them of their First Amendment right to peaceably assemble. The Attorney General has also stepped in a separate case, an appeal to the Supreme Court, asking them for a direct appeal to block that Clay County ruling earlier that restrained Governor Pritzker's executive power to keep a House Republican, Darren Bailey, in his home. Today, Governor Pritzker was asked how far was he willing to go to enforce these orders, especially with church services where one pastor has said he plans to defy the governor this Sunday.
Nobody's going to, run in and break up a gathering of churchgoers at that moment. But I will tell you that there are consequences. Of course, the state has the ability to enforce orders, but we've been looking to people to do the right thing, and they should do the right thing. And I think the parishioners, by the way, ought to do the right thing and ask those who are faith leaders either not to hold those services or simply ask that they have something online that they can connect to rather than the potential for being infected.
The governor, again, appears sensitive to some of the difficult and complex legal challenges here about the limits of his executive power. A number of local law enforcement agencies and some prosecutors, a small number of them around the state, have said they will not enforce Governor Pritzker's executive order, raising questions about what happens if they just turn a blind eye. The governor here trying to shape public opinion and encourage public behavior to do what he says is the right thing. But it's still unclear how far he's willing to go to enforce all that. He knows right now that not only the courts, but also opposing lawyers are watching his and the state's every move very closely. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
Now you're going to hear more from the lawyer representing the church in Stevenson County tonight at 10. Another House Republican sued the governor in a class action case in an attempt to overturn the stay-at-home order statewide. Now, Mark alluded to this. Police officers across the state have a choice tomorrow: enforce the newest executive order or not. It requires you to wear masks in public and continue social distancing through May 30th. Sheriffs in both Douglas and Kankakee County have both said they won't enforce it. A chief of police in southern Illinois won't either. The DeWitt County Sheriff had previously said he wasn't sure if people downstate could handle another month of staying at home. Today, he said his department will approach things on a case-by-case basis. They won't look for violations, but they won't ignore them either.
If we see anything, we're going to ask for compliance. We're not going to, obviously, we don't have the personnel to drive around look for people whether they're wearing masks or not. Probably what we will do is we will try to get compliance as we encounter these things or receive complaints.
I'm back in Douglas County, where the sheriff isn't forcing people to wear masks. The health department's administrator pleaded with the public. Amanda Meyer posted a letter this week begging people to comply with the governor's order, regardless of what the sheriff says. Groups have been trying to stop violence around Champaign-Urbana for years. Another crime this week has people wondering how to tackle it during a pandemic. At least one organization has some ideas. WCIA3's Andy Olson has more.
An attempted break-in by teenagers on Tuesday night in Urbana has followed a month where at least 2 other shootings involved teens. One led to the death of a 15-year-old. For one local activist, he says he needs to do something to try and prevent more incidents from happening.
And we were discussing ways that we could be active now, even with COVID-19 and the stay-at-home order being in place. What can we do now to still show the support and make ourselves present in the midst of all these different things that's going on now?
Police say one of those teens involved in Tuesday's break-in is still in critical condition in the hospital. Maurice Hayes is the founder of Spit with a Purpose. It's a group that tries to enlighten Urbana youth. He says normally when an incident happens, he'll go to areas where they happened and embrace the community there. Now that they have to be apart, he says it's important to be even more proactive.
And if we can come together as one community, then we'll curb a lot of things and get in front of a lot of things before they even happen. So that's the ultimate goal, to not talk about it after someone lose their life or after something terrible happens. The goal is to prevent these things from happening to begin with, right?
In Urbana, Andy Olson, WCIA3, your local news leader.
He says he's partnering with other organizations to start programs for neighborhoods this summer. One is focused on art. Another is a challenge for a month of nonviolence. He says the rollout will be happening soon. It is a time when many communities are talking about opening back up, what it's going to take to get the capital city back up and running. And also tonight.
It's just so heartwarming to be able to give parents that opportunity to have that special communication with their baby.
Does a smile make a difference to a baby? How one NICU nurse is making sure during these times the little ones see it.
And one of the last locations for the clouds to finally clear out here in Vermilion County, that's the Roofing Dog Eye Net Flooring America camera in Danville. Notice they've still got the cloud cover, but as you look off to the west where that sunshine is, well, that's us here in places like Champaign where we got the sun. 56 and 47. Didn't warm up much because we had the cloud cover for so long, but the sun's coming back for everybody, but also some rain right into the weekend. We'll show it to you next.